You're listening to Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world. Thank you for tuning in for this Unity Partner Program. Unity Online Radio partners with spiritual leaders from organizations whose mission and messages complement Unity's. We are pleased to bring you this program on Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world.
Welcome to Living on Purpose with psychology doctoral candidate Jesse Herriott from Atlanta, Georgia. Are you ready to make the switch? A switch from barely living to living on purpose. During the next hour, you will discover principles to help you live a fully functioning, conscious, and purposeful life. The all is mind, and so are you. Let's live on purpose. Now, here's your host, Jesse Herriott.
Well, thank you, folks, so much for tuning in to another exciting hour of Living on Purpose. And I know you guys are probably out, as I always say, fulfilling your calling and your vocation. Hopefully, we can give you a few tools to kind of help you along the way, to help you, as I always say, become more and more your authentic self, moving out of the place of just barely living and thriving to really living on purpose. The way you breathe, your body is innately programmed to breathe, but yet you don't worry about giving away that breath because you will receive that breath again. This is what we're talking about, living from that point. That's your center. And from that point, that's how you can build the life of your dreams and really live on purpose. I don't want to hold you guys up. I want to jump right into this week's episode and this guest for this week. We have a very, very powerful being, someone who has been a dear teacher of mine. His name is Dr. Tim Freke. He is a stand-up philosopher, best-selling author, and spiritual pioneer. I'm going to let him introduce himself, and we're just going to jump right in. So, folks, hang on to your seats. This is going to be a very powerful conversation. Dr. Tim, are you there?
I am here. Hi. Hello to you, and hello to everyone who's listening.
Blessings to you all the way in the UK. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure. I'm speaking from my home in Glastonbury, which is a magical little town full of ancient mythology, and it's like a little center for alternative spirituality. And I happen by chance, actually, really, to live here, and it's nice to connect across the Atlantic to you.
It is, and I believe it's May Day, right? Happy May Day to you.
So it is, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, what's that holiday like? What do you guys celebrate? Because I don't think we celebrate May Day much over here. I don't hear about it.
Not so much these days, but traditionally there was a huge celebration. People would dance around the maypole, and there were lots of ancient traditions to celebrate, the coming of the summer. We're coming into the good times.
Yeah. Oh man, it's beautiful, and it is a beautiful day here. I'm actually streaming from Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Maybe I'll go out and celebrate May Day after this show. Well, this episode, I just want to dive right in, Tim. You've done so much. I know you have a brand new book that's out called The Mystery Experience. Some of your former books, bestsellers, Jesus and the Lost Goddess, which is one of my favorites. The Jesus Mysteries, Lucid Living, How Long Is Now? The Gospel of the Second Coming. You are just an unstoppable writer. You have, 20, 21 books now?
Yeah, more than that, I think. But many of the books I wrote when I was much younger. But the books that are out there and really, doing the work, about 7 or 8 books, which I think are really significant books, which I'm still getting a great response to. Yeah, they just come through, Jesse. I'd like to say it was all sort of a delightful process, but it's actually huge, hard work. But at the end of the day, it's a privilege to be able to communicate these ideas and the feeling that goes with them to so many people, and I feel very privileged.
That's beautiful, Tim. Now, before we get too heavy, you describe yourself as a stand-up philosopher, and we were talking a bit about it before the show. Could you tell us a little bit about a stand-up philosopher and what that means?
Well, I mean, the idea of the stand-up philosopher really came from wanting to make philosophy fun. For me, philosophy is like magic. You go and you hear someone speak really good philosophy, and you come out from listening to them speak, and ideally, you're living in a new world. You're seeing the world in a whole new way. So I wanted to make, philosophy's got this reputation for being somewhat dry and stuffy, but for me, philosophy's sexy. It's fun. And the other problem which I had, I've been involved in spirituality for 4 decades, and I realized that because of the nature of what I write about, that I was going to fall into being a spiritual teacher, and didn't feel comfortable about it because, when you call someone a maths teacher, you expect them to be good at maths, know what they're talking about, but you don't expect them to be some sort of perfect being. But with a spiritual teacher, too much nonsense gets attached. And I didn't want that. I wanted to be Tim, just Tim, and to be able to go out there and share what I found on my exploration of this strange business called life authentically without any of the baggage. So it was a way of avoiding, really, the whole tag of spiritual teacher.
And that's awesome that you said that. You're actually lock and step with our guest from last week, Dale Allen Hoffman, and even all the way back to Bishop John Shelby Spong, and they both talked about this notion of being fully human, instead of trying to be, the light, embracing your humanity and allowing the divine to flow through.
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is a major theme of the new book, The Mystery Experience. I mean, the subtitle is A Revolutionary Approach to Spiritual Awakening, and one of the things which is revolutionary about it, and I mean, I think it really is a whole new take on what spirituality is. It is to say, look, we need to understand that life is inherently paradoxical, and therefore we need to. What I've developed is a new way of thinking. Now, this may sound a bit, scary to people, but it isn't. It's really simple. It's called paralogical thinking, and paralogical thinking comes in and goes, look, you've got to think that at the depths of life, everything is paradoxical. And I use a lot of quantum physics and various other examples to illustrate this in a very simple way. But once you get that, you see, logical thinking approaches things and says, it's either this or it's this. It's one or the other. And for most purposes, that's really useful. But not when you're looking at the depths of life. There you need to go, oh, look, something can be both this and this. And so one of the things that spirituality gets caught up in is this idea that you need to get away from your wounded, vulnerable, tender humanity in order to embrace the deep self, which is really an awesome experience. Once you contact the deep self, it's a revelation. But we don't have to get rid of our humanity to find the deep self. It's not either or, it's both and. So when you can think paralogically about this, you can go, look, these two sit together, and I can meet you now and try to authentically be all I am. So on the one hand, here I am, I'm Tim, I'm a guy from England, a philosopher, doing my best, making mistakes, working my way through this incredibly challenging and exciting adventure called life. And yet also at my depths, there's this profound love, this huge stillness, this profound oneness with everything. And that's there too. And it's not either or. It's both of those at once.
Wow. So in your opinion, what is spirituality, and how can we use it to help address the polarities that show up in our lives? And could, in fact, it become outdated? Can spirituality be outdated?
I don't think spirituality itself can be outdated, but I do think the way that it's talked about can. And I think it is. I think there's a lot of language and ideas around spirituality which have passed their sell-by date and they're starting to smell funny. And we need to replace them. And one of the things I'm doing in the new book, The Mystery Experience, is to create a whole new language of awakening, which is very simple and which is authentic, which is actually, what I love from people who are reading the book is they're going, oh, look, you're actually talking about life as I actually experience it. You're saying what I'm thinking. So what I'm trying to do is create a new form of spirituality. Now, spirituality, I mean, the word spirit, it just means essence. And essence comes from the Latin, esse, to be. It's your being. The whole of spirituality really is simply about waking up to your being, to your deep being. Now, once you see that, what you want is the simplest tools and the simplest and deepest philosophy which can allow you to do that. And the way that, if you see that as in opposition to your humanity, your ego, your separate self, whatever you call our personal being, there's this whole struggle which goes on. And it's very hard. But once you realize that they're not in opposition, that they both sit together, and that's the paradox of your identity, that you are the one appearing as someone, then you can embrace both. And what I find then is that I can actually start to love Tim as he is. And I can start to love other people as they are. And I can connect through this incredible dance of being separate with the oneness in everything. And that, I think, is what spirituality is about. And my own feeling, Jesse, is that spirituality has a huge, huge role to play in the next step of human beings' evolution. I don't think it can be made without a deep understanding of spirituality. But I also think that at the moment, the one thing which is standing in the way of that happening is the state of modern spirituality. It's just not up to the job. Too much of it is confused. There's too much of it sloppy, fluffy. It pushes away the darkness. It's based on either-or thinking. It's, just have this, not that. It's not going deep enough. It's full of superstition. It's still tied with a lot of religious mumbo-jumbo, which we should have left behind centuries ago. So what we need, I think, is a whole fresh spirituality which speaks to life as it is now, which can take us forward.
Oh wow, that's powerful. That's very realistic, and that's what I like about it. That's a part of what we want to do with the show. We want to ground it in practicality, a spirituality that we can use, because non-attachment and non-action, and some of the Eastern teachings are good, but there needs to be kind of sort of synthesis of the Eastern and Western ideas, and that's what it kind of sounds like you're saying.
Absolutely. You see, that's a both-and approach. That's a paralogical approach. I grew up and was exploring beginning my exploration in the 70s. And at that time, my generation, and certainly myself, we rejected a lot of the spirituality which was around us, and we went east. And having been critical of Christianity and the Western spirituality, I can now see that what we did was we just uncritically embraced a lot of Eastern thought. And now I hear a lot of people, a lot of ideas which are commonplace, karma, enlightenment, all the non-attachment, and they're talked about as if they're just perennial truths, but they're not. They are Indian ideas. You don't find those ideas in China. You don't find those ideas in South America. You don't find those ideas in Europe. They're Indian ideas. And what we need to do is approach them with the same level of intelligent, critical thinking that we do with all the other ideas. So what I suggest in the book is a lot of these ideas get in the way. Enlightenment, for instance, I think is a huge idea which gets in the way. That there's some ultimate state that we could achieve someday if we were only pure enough or meditated long enough or something. I really think it gets in the way. Because actually what it does, again, is it sets up that idea that you have to destroy sometimes even your separate self. You have to get away from something. Well, you don't have to get away from anything. You simply have to notice something else as well. And that something else is your own deeper being.
And it's funny that you said that, because I've encountered a lot of folks that, and I'm just following the flow because the flow has taken us this way. They've experienced abuse from that, because in that destruction, they've had gurus or teachers to kind of sort of beat them down in essence, trying to pull something else out and destroy that ego. And they hurt their feelings, they beat them down, they take things from them, expect them to give up everything and only follow their path.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there, I've done that, and it's not very nice. You see, essentially, what spirituality is about for me is love. When you see through the separateness to the oneness, and you see that you're connected to everything and everyone, there's this all-embracing deep love, which is exquisite. And for me, that's what's got to carry us through. And the idea of, when I meet people, I have people come to my retreats from all over the world, and I see people, and nearly everybody, their biggest hurdle is simply to love themselves.
Yeah.
And so what good can it do if there's somebody going, well, you're right not to love yourself, because that's the problem. You're the problem. Your ego, your separateness, your personality, that's what's standing in the way of you realizing God. And I just think that is pernicious, madness, because actually nothing's standing in the way. And your separate self, your ego, your humanity has been, you've spent a lifetime developing it as a foundation from which you can awaken to this wonderful oneness. It's not the enemy, it's the foundation from which you'll wake up. And that way of thinking and that way of approaching it makes the whole process of becoming what I call deep awake really, really simple. I mean, it astonishes me, Jesse, that when I run a mystery experience retreat, I have people come, maybe 20, 40 people, and we spend time together from Friday till Sunday, and nearly every single person experiences for themselves this deep awake state, not as some idea, but as something so tangible that you can feel the deep love in every cell in your body. You know, you see the astonishment on people's faces, the wow. You know, and they don't think they can experience that because they've been told it's only something you can do after, you have to struggle with yourself, or you have to become enlightened, or you have to be something other than you. And the truth is you don't. It's right there waiting for us. And when you see it, it is like coming home. It's the most incredible relief.
Oh, that's beautiful. And it's funny that you said that our last goal, all of the guests have been lock and step. I mean, they've been just right along with each other. Dale Allen Hoffman said the same thing, that there's an experience that comes along and it transcends logic because, as a philosopher, you can dance us into a frenzy with words and terminology and talk about Basilides and Valentinus and, all those, Gnostic theologians and all of that stuff. But, at the end of the day, there is an experience, an experience of oneness that you're talking about. And I love the fact that you talk about that.
I mean, what I love, Jesse, about all those people, all these dead dudes that I hang out with as an historian, what I love about them all is that really they're all saying the same thing. They're all saying, look, we need a way of thinking which can help us come to a place which is actually beyond all thought, where you just directly see it. It's a gnosis. It's a deep knowing. And you know something you can never say, but it's so real. And if you were to say it, it would be something like, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's as simple as, do you know what? Everything is okay. Life is good. Life is at the base, underneath all the suffering, life is good, and you can trust it. And you can be in love with it. Yeah,
like the grass is green right where I am, to borrow from Reverend David Alt here in Atlanta.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and you know what, Tim? That approach can work anywhere because sometimes my worry about, and I hate to say worry in spirituality, but it's the truth. My worry is that sometimes, like you were saying, our approach won't work in Africa or in Haiti or, because we become too far out. But this approach you're talking about, the love, this message works everywhere, all over the planet.
Yes, and what you just said there was really interesting. First of all, I love the fact that you said, this is my worry. And then you went, should I say that was spirituality? There is a great example of how it creeps into us without us even noticing. If you're spiritual, you don't worry. That is nonsense.
Right.
There are things worth worrying about, lots of things. Yeah. And we should worry about them, and we should be concerned, and we should be out there doing something about them because we're so concerned. But you don't want to be just worried because that'd be awful. Don't be so concerned about the state of the world that you don't enjoy your own life or the moment you're in. But it's not either or, it's both and. You can be in this moment, and we can right now, as we are doing, can both be worried about that and loving the moment at the same time. And that's the both and.
Right,
and when you talk about, what again, this thing you said about Africa, whether it's Africa or wherever, that's so close to my heart because, sometimes I listen, and I don't mean to be offensive to anyone or not only playfully, but, I sometimes think when I read a lot of the New Age books that are out there, I just think, I've just read how you can create your own reality and have everything you want in a fortnight. And I just think, what a shame that somebody doesn't take 1 million copies of this book and just send it out to Africa because then they'd all have everything they wanted in a fortnight.
Right.
And you just, and you just see the absurdity of some of the things which we're caught up in. What we need is something much deeper, something which allows us to see that what's happening here is that we're learning to love. We're learning to be all that we are, and what we are in our depth of our being is love. And then with that love, that goes everywhere. That goes, it's a sunny day here, and I am loving it. I'm loving looking at the garden. But last week, my mum was seriously ill. My mother was seriously ill. I thought she'd had a stroke, and it was a sad and confusing and dark place for us all. But I could bring love to that too. Right. Actually, she's now absolutely fine. I want you to know, and everything worked out well. But what I'm saying is, this love comes everywhere. You know, it makes the good things absolutely exquisite, and it makes the dark things kind of poignant, almost beautiful. Like that heartbreak just opens you up, and more love comes out.
Oh, that's beautiful, Tim. That is so beautiful. On that note, we have to take a commercial break because the conversation is getting good, and we're already jumping into what I have prepared for the second half. This is amazing. We're talking, folks, with stand-up philosopher, spiritual pioneer indeed, and best-selling author Dr. Timothy Freke. I'm Jesse Herriott. Stay tuned right here at Unity.fm. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world. To support this ministry, go to www.unity.fm and click on Donate Now. Your contribution helps us broadcast messages of love and inspiration throughout the world.
Hello, listeners. Did you know we've gone mobile? That's right. Your favorite Unity Online radio programs are available on your mobile device. Now you can take us with you wherever you go. Using apps from Live 365 or Stitcher, you can listen to Unity Online Radio live or on demand. To learn more, visit Unity Online Radio and click on Mobile Listening.
Online Radio is turning 5 this year, and we're throwing the biggest bash of all, a cruise to the Caribbean, November 10 through 17, 2012. We'll celebrate in style aboard Holland America Line's Eurodam with sunshine, fine dining, and a selection of island excursions at beautiful ports of call in the Eastern Caribbean. Plus, feed your spirit with music, message, and meditation. Your favorite hosts will be there, and we hope you will join us too as we celebrate 5 years of spiritual programming at Unity Online Radio. For more information, visit www.unity.fm/cruise.
You've been listening to Living on Purpose with Jesse Herriott. If you have a question or comment about today's broadcast, or if you'd like to join in the discussion, friend us on Facebook at Jesse Herriott or email us at livingonpurpose@unity.fm. Now, more Living on Purpose.
Thank you, folks, for tuning back into Living on Purpose. My name is Jesse Herriott. Today we're talking with a spiritual pioneer and best-selling author and stand-up philosopher, Dr. Tim Freke, and we're going to pick back up where we left off. If you missed the first half, please go to www.unity.fm. It'll be during the end of business day portion of today. You can download the episode for free, and it's compatible with any of your devices. And there are apps available so that you can download it on your phone and play it in the car while you're driving. Allow this information to soak into your spirit and encourage you and take you where you need to go. Tim, pick back up where we left off. We were talking about dealing with the polarities of life, and as I was sharing with you and to our listening audience, my mom also has been battling some incidents in her body. Both my mom is HIV positive, and it actually this is a process for me opening up to you guys on air, but I want to share my little portion to help you out. My mom is HIV positive, and my stepfather is, and that's what she received it from. And so I go back and forth with this pendulum swing where she battles in her health, but when I center myself, I can see the pendulum swing from things being okay to things being not okay, but in the end, through this process of love that you talk about, Tim, things balance itself out. And this is how we should live. Is that what you're saying? Kind of sort of watching the pendulum swing back and forth and embracing both sides?
Well, I'm not saying we should do it, but I'm saying we can. And
Yeah.
to me, it's the richest way. It's, you know, I mean, I really feel for your situation, and you know, I just hate it when spirituality comes along to that and just goes, you know, oh, it's karma, or don't be attached, or
Right.
you know, transcend suffering, and all these common ideas. And you know, I was with my father, who died 2 years ago, and he had a stroke. He was 6 months lying in a bed. He could move one arm, and he would lie there, and he would just he would try to say, help me, help me. It was incredibly distressing. Now, for me, you know, I've been doing this spirituality thing for 40 years, but I didn't want to be unattached. He was my dad. I wanted to suffer. I didn't want to be sitting there going, oh, well, you know, I've transcended all of this, or it's okay, Dad, don't worry, none of this is real, or, you know, to me, I wanted to be right there with him in the awfulness of the situation, but with this love. And I didn't want to be lost in it. I wanted to be in this both and, where part of me, my humanity, my heart was breaking, and then this deep being within me, the deep self, was just right there with it just as it is. No judgments, in the mystery. This is why my book's called The Mystery Experience. In not knowing. I don't know what this is. I really don't. Who knows what life is? Let alone death. None of us know what it is. I'm just right here in love with this moment, with this amazing being who is and has been my dad. And he is going through this very, very difficult thing, and that's hard for me, and I'm right here with him. And when that happened, we would meet in this deep, poignant place, which was kind of beautiful despite everything, because there was love. And for me, that love can go everywhere. And the love is what comes when you find the deep self and embrace the humanity at the same time.
Right, the one and the many, like you were referring to.
Yes, exactly that. There really is only one of us. It really is all one, and you can know that for yourself. You can have that deep knowing. But for me, what that does, ironically, you know, I chased that realization for most of my life, thinking that somehow when I really got it, the separateness would all disappear. But what's actually happened is the kind of the opposite, is that I've fallen in love with the separateness. This strange journey of life that we're on, with all of its terrors and beauty. I've fallen in love with life, just as it is. And I'm willing to undergo that process. And like everyone, sometimes that's great and easy, and sometimes that's really tough. But because it's both, I can meet other beings, other people, authentically, because it's like that for them too. Right. There's nothing to push away. They too have things happening to them, as I do, which are difficult. They too have things inside of them, which are difficult, just as I do. Because we're all like that. Every human being's like that. Even the people that you think aren't like it, if you get to know them, as I have done, you find out they're like that. Everyone is. That's because everything's paradoxical. We're all great souls, and we're all, we're all little human beings, vulnerable, doing our best.
Very true. We're human beings being human.
We are, and it's scary. Hey, it's scary. A lot of spiritual things I hear go, if you just love or you get rid of fear, you will get rid of fear. And it's like, no, you won't. You won't. You'll try and you'll fail, because to be human is scary sometimes. If you're a human being and you're not scared, you have not been paying attention to what happens to people, because scary stuff happens all the time. The question isn't whether you can get rid of it. The thing is, you don't want to be lost in it just to be scared. That is awful. But to have this deep safety of your deep being, where you know that everything is fundamentally okay, allows your humanity to go through all the gambit of emotions that it feels. And then you see, you see the paradox. I mean, love involves a certain amount of fear. I have a little girl. If she's in trouble, I love her, and I'm scared for her. Now, that's part of loving. It's part of what it is. To love is to take the risk of being human. It's to actually take the risk that you will get hurt. And that takes courage. And courage, you see, courage is a really interesting thing, because courage isn't the absence of fear. That's foolhardiness. Courage is when you feel the fear which is natural in us, and yet you have this deep confidence in life, which is in the depths of your being, and that allows you to live courageously, to actually step into life.
Yes. This is very true. This is a very beautiful conversation. I want to shift things a bit. I want to stay in the flow because I love it when the conversation emerges on its own, and it always surprises me and yet still blesses me. So I allow the conversation just to flow, and what comes out, comes out. I want to play a quick word game. I'm going to give you a word, and then you tell me what you think about it, whether it's a sentence or whatever. We already talked a bit about this subject, but I want to give you this word again. Let's start here. Pain.
Pain, I don't want to feel it. That's natural. But it opens you up. It opens me up. It makes me real. It grounds me in my body. I would like to avoid it, but when it comes, I have no choice but to be with it. And if I can be with it from a deep place, I can heal it. And as it heals, I grow and evolve.
Wow. Happiness.
Happiness is so sweet. Sweet. We want sweet. We would all like yum without yuck, and I'm no exception. And happiness is such a beautiful thing. Yet happiness without also service becomes kind of self-indulgent. I often hear, people say, I just want my kids to be happy, or I just want to be happy myself. And I love that. But the truth is, I don't want that for myself or my kids. I want them to be happy and, as well, to give, to express that by making others happy. So the key thing for me is, again, the both and. Happiness for yourself, yes, and sharing it, making others happy, bringing out the beauty in others, making other people see how gorgeous they really are.
Consciousness.
Consciousness. It's what defines us, it's what we are, and it's arising on a sea of unconsciousness. I see it like there's a field of unconscious awareness, like a giant mind, and right now it's arising as centers of conscious being. There's this field of unconscious being, and it's arising as all these different centers of conscious being. So where, as conscious beings, we're all separate and yet reach into your depths, and there's one field of unconscious being, and that's what we are at our depths. We're both of those. We're like waves of consciousness rising on this sea of unconscious being. And when we see both of those, that's when we become deep awake.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful. Pleasure.
I am a huge fan of pleasure. I just, there's a line I put in one of the books where, the people say, you make your body a temple for the soul. And I've always felt, I like that, but I also want my body to be a nightclub for the soul. I want it And one of the things which really I notice, about traditional spirituality, and which I definitely don't go along with in my new book, The Mystery Experience, in my revolutionary new approach, is that waking up is pleasurable. No one told me that. When I become deep awake, I'm loving what I'm smelling and what I'm tasting and what I'm touching and what I'm seeing, and just to breathe. Just to feel the breath come into my lungs, it's like, that's kind of almost, it's kind of sexy just to breathe. It's, that's
right,
good, isn't it?
I know what you mean. It is.
Yeah, it's good. And it's like, here we want to feel pleasure. Well, spirituality will turn your pleasure ratio up 100%.
Wow. Yeah, it will. Purpose.
That sounded like the voiced experience, Jesse.
Yeah. Purpose.
I feel with this paradoxical nature of life that we each have a universal purpose and we each have an individual purpose, because we are both universal beings and individuals at the same time. And the universal purpose, it seems to me, is to be part of this amazing process through which the one is appearing to be many, to wake up to the fact that it is one. Or to put it in another language, that the one is appearing to be many, to fall in love with itself. And we're all on that journey. We're all on that journey of learning to wake up and be love. And then each one of us, that's about the self-realization, the inner journey. But the other side is self-expression. That's the polarity. That's the paradox. It's both. And so that purpose is, what can I bring from this unique form I'm in, this unique humanity? What can Tim or you bring to the world. And for me, that becomes your purpose, what you can bring and share with others. And for me, one of the things I always want to give people when they come to my retreats or read my books, and I really hope they're going to get this from my new book, is to feel empowered to really bring what they are to everyone else. Because we need everyone to do that. We really do.
Wow. And it's beautiful that you said that. It sounds like, Tim, I've heard you talk about, your early awakening and your feeling of oneness when you were younger, but it sounds like you've had many awakenings. Tell us about your latest experience. What led you to where you are now? What was the catalyst?
Oh, well, it started when I was a little boy, and I stumbled into this deep awake state when I was 12 years old, and there was the love, and there was the oneness, and that set me off on a journey now 4 decades, in which I've continually refound this place and shared it with others. And what I've really wanted to do, the thing which I felt like, this is what I can do, this is what I can, my purpose, is to try and find ways to express it so simply and clearly that I can take other people to this place that I know so well. Not because I'm a special person, because if people think that will just get in the way. It's precisely because I'm not a special person, or no more special than you or anyone else. It's just because I'm alive, and I've concentrated in my life on how to enter the mystery experience, the deep awake state. And I can show people how to do it really quickly and really easily. And like I said, people come, they spend 3 days with me, nearly every single person gets it, and really gets it, really gets it. I'm hoping that the book is going to do the same. I mean, probably 20 people have read it so far. It's literally just come out or have sent me reviews, and so far every single person has gone, yeah, man, I've got it. And so my hope is that I can, my journey of finding and refinding and going deeper can help other people avoid a lot of the dead ends I've been down and just get to the essence, get to the real experience, the mystery experience directly.
Oh, wow, that is beautiful. I want to jump into the mystery experience. I want to save that for when we come back from the break. We only have a couple minutes left in this half. One more word I want to throw at you, and this is a word that I hear some talk about this, and there are some of my colleagues on Unity that really dwell into that. Reverend Ogun, and with their show, they really delve into that, but I want to talk about it from this perspective. Family. Where does family fit in spirituality? Because sometimes I hear, and we only have a couple minutes left, sometimes I hear of more of the individual in spiritual talk, but I don't hear much about family.
You're so right, Jesse. Yeah, a big transformation came to me when I thought that if I was a first-class seeker, I had to be like a monk, and very, very, very nearly became one twice. And that if I wasn't up to that, then I could be like a householder, as they say in the East, or a family man. And then my life took me in the direction of having a family, and it was the most important thing that's ever happened to me. Because I really saw that in family life is all the things you need to learn. It's all just there. That unconditional giving, all the challenges, the beauty, just written into the fabric of life. Now, when I meet people often, if I hear a lot of spirituality that I don't resonate with, nearly always it's being spoken by single guys who don't have any kids.
Very true. Or either they are alone and live by themselves.
Yeah. And it's just, or certainly without family, spirituality goes off on a world withdrawing from this world. But as soon as I had a family, I wasn't going to say to my little girl, this is an illusion that you need to see through. I wasn't going to say to my little girl, my little girl comes up to me and says, Daddy, I love you. And I go, don't be attached.
Right. My daughter's 14 months, and she looks at me all the time, and I can be meditating. She'll come over and slap me. So I'm like, okay, that's my wake-up call.
So for me, in short, Jesse, I think, family, if you're blessed enough to have one, is the most wonderful, wonderful thing. It's the whole of life, just as it is unfolding. This process of awakening is not, spirituality is actually encoded into the process of life itself. It's not separate from life. It is life. It's just living life consciously.
Yes, and this is exactly what we're about here at the show. We're going to go ahead and jump into our commercial break. We are listening with Dr. Timothy Freke, stand-up philosopher, best-selling author, and spiritual pioneer. I'm Jesse Herriott. When we return, we'll continue the conversation with the powerful luminary Dr. Tim Freke right here on Unity.fm radio, the voice of an awakening world.
Do you sometimes feel as though the door to happiness has closed and there's no other door in sight? In her book, Ask Yourself This, Unity Minister Wendy Craig Purcell reminds us that
everything happens for a reason. We've all experienced situations which felt like anything but good. We may have lost our job or gone through a divorce or experienced some other dark night of the soul. Yet those very experiences, when met spiritually, can lead us to a much greater good. The lost job can be what finally motivates us to discover the work that truly feeds our soul. The ending of a marriage can trigger us to do the emotional healing and personal growth work we've been avoiding for years. Every one of us can look back at negative or painful experiences in our lives and say that they turned out to be the best, worst things that ever happened to us.
For more insight from Wendy Craig Purcell, read Ask Yourself This from Unity House Books. If you're focused on getting the right answers, Ask Yourself This emphasizes the importance of asking the right questions. Order your copy today at www.unity.org.
Did you know that most of us operate on autopilot and don't even realize it? In fact, psychologists suggest automatic behavior has become the rule of thumb these days. Jesse Herriott wants to talk with you about how to make the switch from barely thriving and functioning to living a fully functioning, conscious, and purposeful life. The all is mind, and so are you. Call in with your questions and comments for Jesse Live every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central Time on Living on Purpose, where we blend psychology and ancient wisdom. Only on Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world. You've been listening to Living on Purpose, where psychology meets spirituality. Now, here is your host, Jesse Herriott.
And we are back talking today with Dr. Timothy Freke, stand-up philosopher, best-selling author, and spiritual pioneer. Folks, if you have missed the first half of the show, we're in our last segment. Go back. Don't feel amiss. Go back to www.unity.fm and download the show. It's compatible with all of your devices. Download the apps so that you can play it on your phone, listen to it in the car, download it on your iPod, save it for your library, because this is good stuff, folks. So, Tim, let's go into what you were talking about, the mystery experience and the inspiration behind your latest work.
Well, what I've wanted to do is, after all these decades, explore. I mean, I've written books on every spiritual tradition in the world, just about. And what I wanted to do now is to distill that down into a new form so that I can capture the essence and take people to this awake state as quickly as possible. And the way that I think is the easiest way is to connect simply through the mystery. You know, we're here right now in this moment, and we're alive. And we have a story about what that means. I have a story about who Tim is, and I'm talking to Jesse, and I've got a new book coming out, and I'm talking about the book, and da-da-da-da-da. And on one level, on the surface of life, all of that's true. But if I dive right down into the depths of life right now, I have no idea what life is. I don't know what it is. In fact, I want to suggest nobody knows what it is. No one knows what's going on right now. That's incredible. We pretend we do, but nobody knows what this is. Everything we found out about it, we find it's more and more mysterious. You know, we now know through science, of which there's a lot in my book, and I'm a big fan, we now know that that physical matter isn't there. It really isn't. It's
right.
99.139's nothing. It's not that nothing's what it seems. So here we are, we're alive, and we don't know what this is. That's incredible. Now, if you pay attention to that mystery, and your listeners can do it now, if you pay attention to the mystery, there's your story, that's great. Just leave that for a moment, that'll be there. And just pay attention to the mystery of the moment, that you don't know what life is. Consciousness changes. That's what I call the mystery experience. If you go deeply enough into that mystery experience, you start to become deep awake. You go into the deep mystery, you become deep awake. If you go into the depths further, you will find this experience of the deep self, this deep knowing of the deep self. And there is this deep love, this love that embraces everything. So for the mystery experience, the book is a journey. It's a journey in 4 parts, which takes you into the deep mystery, into the deep self, into the deep love, and then back out into your life just as it is, to live with this awareness of both and, of the polarities, paralogically, to be able to embrace all that you are, both this depth and the surface. So right now, here I am. On the surface, I'm Tim, I have a story, everything is the way it seems. But at the depths, there's this profound sense of love and deep being, and I have no idea about anything, actually. There are no words. It just is. It's beyond words. And they are sitting side by side. And when we can approach our life with both of those, then you become enlivened. I don't know about enlightened, but you become enlivened. You start to become what I call a lover of life. For me, the journey is no longer about becoming enlightened or getting away from here or becoming some sort of Uber Tim who's, you meet and he's full of light. I don't interest in any of that.
Right.
For me, it's now just about being a lover of life.
Yes.
And that's what my journey, and that's what my book's about. It's a revolutionary new approach to spirituality. It's very critical of a lot of outdated ideas, but gives in exchange, I think, a lot of very clear, simple, lucid ideas and practical techniques. Very, very practical, which can take you on this journey into yourself to become deep awake and to love your life.
Real quick, just to give us a snippet, what are some tools right where we are for our listening audience that they can implement in their lives, in addition to the retreat, because I want to talk about that as well, but what are some tools that they can use?
Yes. Well, the very first one, I've already mentioned, which is just to be conscious of the mystery. And that's really to wonder. If you're looking at your life and you are not filled with wonder, you're half asleep.
Right.
If you've got to the point where you're just getting on with your life, then you are asleep, because right now what's happening is utterly wonderful. It's amazing, utterly amazing.
It is.
It's beyond comprehension that we are communicating. I mean, right now, let me describe what I see happening right now, Jesse, because it always blows me away. See, on one hand, I'm on the phone to you in America and we're talking. Da-da-da.
Right.
There we go. That's on the surface. But actually, just look. I'm a conscious being. I don't know what that is, but I am. I'm a presence of consciousness within which is arising ideas right now. I don't know what an idea is. What is an idea?
Right.
But they're arising, and then something to do with all of this porridge in my head is making those ideas turn into words. They've become encoded into words, and then my jaw is moving, and my breath is puffing, and those words are now encoded into the air. Now it's in the air, and then it's going down the phone, and then by the miracle of technology, it's arising in your phone, and now it's vibrating in the phone, and then it's going through the air again and into your ear, and now the ideas are in your ear. They're vibrating, and then your porridge is vibrating, and then these ideas are arising in consciousness over in America, and wherever anyone's listening to this. That's incredible. That's incredible. And we just take it for granted. And that's happening all the time. So one of the biggest things, it's so simple, is just remember to wonder. The minute you remember to wonder, you will start to wake up. If you wonder deeply enough, you will really wake up.
Oh, wow. And the retreat coming up, you're going to be busy in the U.S. This summer. Tell us a bit about what's going on this summer.
Yeah, I got a hell of a 3 weeks, actually. I've got a mystery experience retreat in the UK, in Glastonbury, then I fly out to Canada, and I've got one in Calgary, and then I fly straight to Kansas City, and I've got one in Kansas City. So Kansas City in the UK, in the US, and then before the event, which is it's from the 6th to the 8th of July, And then before that, we've got an amazing event where I'm going to do a presentation, and there's going to be on the 5th and some music. But the Mystery Experience Retreat that's what made me write the book. I was doing these retreats, and so I was sharing this new way of awakening. And I was just astonished. If you told me just 10 years ago that I could get together 40 people, and we would all, by the Saturday night, be sitting there in the deep love so strongly that no one could miss it, I would have said that's not going to happen. That's unlikely. But actually, it happens time and again. And every time it's fresh and new and immediate. And if you talk to people who've been, you'll hear the authenticity, which happens. And the simple secret is this both and, is that once you go, look, you don't have to become more than you are. You just have to see how much you already are. And then what happens is you start falling in love with all of these funny little quirky human beings. And they suddenly start to shine and look beautiful. And this very real deep knowing arises. And so I've got a simple process on these Mystery Experience Retreats, and I take people through this. And it's a delight for me, and I really want to share this with as many people as I can while I'm alive. That's my purpose, to just share this with as many people as I can. And if that means traveling to America or wherever else I'm going, Japan, then I'm willing to do that. And those people that hear the call, those that go, yeah, I want that, or have had it before and want to re-find it, those are the people that come. And there's, such a cross-sectioning of men and women, young and old. We have professors, we have physicists, we have artists, we have the unemployed, we have people that are retired, we have every sort of people get attracted to this. There's not a type. Yeah. They don't all wear certain clothes or speak in a certain way. It's just people. People come. And I love that.
Where can we find out more information about your retreats and what's going on in the life of Tim?
Well, the best place is I've got a brand new website to go with my brand new book, which I'm really proud of, with some really, really great images and videos and stuff on, and it's just called themysteryexperience.com. And if you go to themysteryexperience.com and take a look around, I think you'll be glad you did. I really hope so. And if you want to, Google my name, it's Tim Freke, but it's spelled Freke. It's pronounced Freak, and I tell you, if you can get through school with a name pronounced Freak, I tell you, you can end up doing this.
I know.
But it's spelled Freke.
Oh wow, that is.
And all the information for Kansas City, where it is, who's hosting me, and how you can get in contact with them. All of that's on themysteryexperience.com. And I really hope that people go out, have a look at Amazon, have a look at the book on my website. This is worth me mentioning. You can download right now a free taster ebook for your Kindle or your ebook reader or as a PDF, absolutely free. It's at least a third of the book given away. Take it and read it. And the reason the publishers have done that is they're just so confident that if you start reading it, you're going to want to read the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
My publisher, I'm not sure I should say this on air, but I won't tell you who he is. But my publisher, who's been in the business for decades, he's a top publisher. He wrote back after he read the book, and he just, said hugely complimentary things, and then just said, this is one of the one or two books that I've published in the last 40 years that have made all the struggle of being a publisher worthwhile. So there's a real excitement there, and I really want to. This book, I so much want people to read it because I think it will make such a big difference to their lives. So my whole mission is just to get that message out so that the book gets a chance. So you can read it now. You can get out, download the first third. Tell me what you think. Email me. Tell me what you think.
Oh yeah.
Join me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think. I'm not one of those guys who's distant. I'm here, and I will connect with you.
Yes. And I'm in the process of reading that ebook as well, and the website is beautiful. I love how you have the front page. If you check the website out, it looks like you're standing in the midst of and there are people around you, and there's this portal there. What was the inspiration behind that? The portal.
Well, I was working with the guys who created the images for the famous Pink Floyd record covers. And a lot of other of the great rock and roll record covers, and we wanted to create an image about the mystery experience. So we went right to the center of London and created this image of like reaching through the appearances to the depths that are underneath. And that's what we created. And there's some other great images as well on that homepage. There's 3 really nice images.
Oh, that is beautiful. Well, Tim, thank you so much for speaking with us today. We hope you'll come back and bless us again with your powerful teachings, and we can continue the conversation more. Thank you again for your time.
It has been a real delight to talk to you. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Jesse.
Thank you. His latest book, The Mystery Experience, is available online with your favorite bookseller or in bookstores worldwide. You can follow Dr. Tim online via Facebook or directly at themysteryexperience.com. Thank you so much for tuning in this week to Living on Purpose at Unity.fm radio. And this program is also made possible by your generous support. To make a special contribution to help keep this Unity Partner program on air, log on to www.jesseherriott.com and click on Donate. Your help counts, folks, and all proceeds will be forwarded to Unity Online Radio to help keep us on air, delivering to you powerful content and transformative information every week without repeat. One other quick announcement, folks. If you're in the Decatur or Atlanta, Georgia area or outside of Georgia and you would like to participate in an educational experience to help you step into your Dharma and some of the things we were talking about, I've been blessed to teach alongside some of the best academic and spiritual teachers in the Southeast in an exciting training program called the Kairos Institute. Classes start September 15th. Applications are online at www.adretreat.com. Early registration has already started. The open house is Thursday, June 7th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. in downtown Decatur. For more info, check the website out or call 404-455-2574. Thanks again for your time, folks, and remember to live on purpose.
Thank you for tuning in to Living on Purpose, where psychology meets spirituality with Jesse Herriott. Listen in live every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central Time for more insights into psychology, ancient wisdom, and how it connects to your life today. Living on Purpose, only on Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world. This program is brought to you in part by www.jesseherriott.com, where psychology meets spirituality. Connect with us on Facebook and YouTube. Keyword search Jesse Herriott.
Spirit of Recovery is the place where spirituality and recovery meet, where we support your spiritual growth. Reverend Anna Schaus, Ph.D., interviews down-to-earth guests who share with you how they keep going and growing in recovery. Spirit of Recovery is the place to get practical tips and to join in lively discussions on topics that matter to recovering people. This program welcomes everyone who wants to know more about recovery. Join Anna and her guests live every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Pacific on Spirit of Recovery, where we talk about what keeps you growing, only on Unity FM, the voice of an awakening world.
Repeat the words, God is taking care of it, and it will become clear that you are the channel, and that God is the doer of good works through you.
This meditative moment, adapted from Mary Kupferle's God Will See You Through, is brought to you by Unity.